Hey guys, MBG here today with a little bit of 40k Tactica for you. Today we're going to be talking about the Catacomb Command Barge, and I really like this unit. It's not as prevalent as it was when 7th edition first dropped, but with all these rumors of possible Necrons coming out this winter, which I wouldn't put it past GW because they love them some Necron and Xenos releases towards the end of the year. I could see it happening, but it's interesting to see what'll happen with the Catacomb Command Barge because everybody, it's like the boogeyman. Like, everybody's like, oh, I hate this thing, and I hate playing against it, and it's so hard to kill, and yada yada yada, which is true, but from a player's perspective, there's some easy ways to deal with it, but from, you know, a controller's perspective, it's got a lot of rules, and it's hard to remember everything. It took me a solid couple of weeks just to like dig up everything on how it's supposed to play, etc. So I thought we'd go over some of that right now just to kind of help everybody. And it seems like the way the rules are written in 7th edition that we're gonna see these things for a while. So whether they're still, you know, a little bit on the OP side remains to be seen, but it would definitely be you know, maybe in all of our best interest to learn how to play with them or against them a little bit better. Now this is one of my 2 Catacomb Command Barges, and I know, don't be mad at me, I have 2, but mostly because I just broke off the cannon on one of my Annihilation Barges and play with that now, which you can kind of see here because I just put my Lord right on top, so you can kind of take it off and I can still put the gun back on it because, like I said, who knows what's going on with them in 7th edition, but it's a neat little unit, and it's fun to airbrush this all these little parts here because it's all nice and flat, and it's got these natural breaks in between it and everything like that, so I had a lot of fun with it. Alright, so let's talk some rules. So I got a little top 10 quick reference article here that I'm putting together for the blog that basically goes over just some quick things to remember. So at number 10 we've got I'll Be Back, because obviously most people know by now that the Catacomb Command Barge, if it does succeed on its ever-living rule, it does come back with either a hull point left or a wound on the Necron Lord itself, depending on, you know, the particular arrangement. But so that's always good to know. And don't forget too that the barge itself has that armor 13 shield. So once it's penetrated, even if it comes back with armor 11, which is a little bit easier to deal with for most people than armor 13. The command barge itself is kind of like a hybrid kind of unit. It's kind of how dreadnoughts work, like, whereas they're kind of infantry, but they got an armor value kind of thing. So the weird thing about them is that they're still affected by difficult terrain. It moves as a fast skimmer. However, any immobilization results count as crew stunned. And that being said, you can reduce crew stunned on a 4-up using the living metal rule. But if you don't, and you're not in combat, that Necron Lord gets really mad because he has to stand there, stay put for a turn because he's stunned. So it's pretty funny to see. It hasn't happened to me, but I could see where it could happen. Also, on the assault, if that happens, you just take a whole point. You don't have a chance to be stunned and not make the assault. He just takes a whole point, which is kind of cool because nobody wants to miss an assault because you immobilize yourself and then you just stand there and then you get assaulted and die. Because that's just sad. So living metal also reduces crew shaken on a 2-up. You still take a whole point, but of course you just don't. You know, you can still shoot, which kind of doesn't matter for a command barge. It's got the small Tesla gun, but it doesn't really do a whole lot, so to speak. Weapon destroy results are changed to crew stunned per the Necron FAQ symbiotic repair rule, I believe. So that's something to keep in mind too. If you get a weapon destroy result against a Catacomb Command Barge, it may turn into a crew stunned, and it may turn in. There's a 50-50 chance that they're just going to stun themselves and sit there. So keep that in mind. You never lose hope when you're fighting against a Catacomb Command Barge because you never know what attack is going to get through and disable it, and, you know, maybe swing the fortune of battle to your side. Keeping that in mind, when shooting at a Catacomb Command Barge, the controlling player gets to choose how he's going to allocate out the volleys. So whether he's going to say, hey, I'm going to take him on my Lord, or hey, I'm going to take him on my armor, the armor facing of the vehicle, which will probably be 13 unless it's taken a penetrating hit already and the shields are down. So keeping that in mind, you want to be careful about what you get through, and that as a Necron player, you're reminding your opponents before they scoop up all their dice and re-roll it, because you want to make sure that they're rolling for wounds or they're rolling for armor pen against your vehicle. So it's you decide, but just make sure you communicate that well, because you don't want people to feel bad that, hey, oh, why didn't you tell me? Now I don't know what to roll, and I got to re-roll, and I got a 6, and I won't really want that 6, and nobody likes that. So just make sure you're upfront with your opponents. You don't want them to feel bad or anything like that. But unlike shooting attacks, close combat attacks in combat, the assaulter gets to say where they're putting their attack. So that can be a little rough for Necron Lord, because if people bring melta bombs and stuff, they're going to put them on the barge, and that barge is probably going to get destroyed even if it has armor 13, because melta bombs are mean. But as a character, an independent character, you can also try to issue a challenge against somebody that might have the melta bomb, just so they don't attack, or you get to strike them down in initiative 2 before they get to clamp the bomb on and make blow up the vehicle. So keep that in mind. It is a good defense, but if more than one unit or if more than one model has a melta bomb and you get into combat with them, you're probably going to lose your command bars, that being said. So, make sure you issue those challenges when you can. You can combo off Mind Shackle Scarabs too, and don't forget about Hammer of Wrath attacks as well. It gets D6 Strength 5. So that's always something that you want to make sure that you're going through that pre-combat phase, issuing challenges, Mind Shackles, doing your Hammer of Wrath to try to do as much damage as you can to your opponent, to try to weed out those like bombs and grenades and other attacks that may get through and crush the barge. Rending attacks are not normally a problem for the command barge itself. However, lots of rending attacks of strength 6 or higher is a problem. That will drop a barge pretty quick. So you want to make sure that as a Necron player that you deal with those kind of threats with other stuff in your army and not engage them with your Necron Lord. However, that Psychic Power Misfortune is pretty devastating in the fact that Necrons don't normally have a lot of Psychic defense. So if somebody gets a Misfortune off on your Catacomb command bards, and then all of a sudden a lot of shots are coming through at rending, that's going to be bad news bears for your Necron Lord. So you want to be cognizant of that, trying to take out those threats as early as you can, because most of these barges are running 250, 285 points, and you'll want to be losing them just to like the first volley to come through it, rending, strength 6, and things like that. Another good thing that Necron Lord has is the sweep attack mechanic, which the War Scythe is now strength 7, AP 1, armor bane. So when you fly over, and remember you're a fast skimmer, so you get to move 12 inches. So if you move over something, you can perform a sweep attack on it, which hits the rear armor. There's no cover save, and it's strength 7 armor bane. It's going to do some damage, and then the Melta, just puts it over the top with the AP 1. It's not Melta, it's AP 1, so you're going to get +2 to the damage chart. So you're going to do some damage. And I've taken out a couple of Night Titans that were poorly positioned and didn't realize that I was going to sweep attack them and then charging on some other stuff until it was a little too late. And, they exploded. So keep that in mind. It's always good. In the era of multiple scoring units and things like that, you're going to see a lot of vehicles out there, and transports are no match for a Necron sweep attack. So if you're playing against it, make sure you watch your back, make sure you watch your movement angles. If you are playing Necrons, try to take advantage of that with every movement phase you can get. So that's always a good thing. Now, the number one way, easiest way in my opinion, to kill a Necron Lord on a Catacomb command barge is if he dies in combat, which is tough to do to begin with, but there's always a chance he gets back up, let's be honest. And I've done it, and I'm sure we've had it, you players out there, you've seen it done against you, you've seen it done at your game store, and you're just like, it's so crazy, he's 285 points, he gets back up, oh my god. But you can box him out. After combat, he's removed from play. I mean, the remains are there, and then if he passes his ever-living protocols or ever-living rule, he will get to place the, your opponent gets to place it within 3 inches of where the model went down. Now, if you can't place the whole barge within an inch, because there's somebody within an inch, you can't place the barge. So if you have a 10-man squad, you can kind of maybe get a good consolidation roll and kind of box them out so they can't fit in there and they can't They can't get it in there, can't fit it in there, and then it just goes away. You don't even get to roll. You spend all those points for that war gear. You don't even get to roll now, dog. Like that's rough. A Night Titan can just stand right on top of where the Necron Lord was and just boss him out completely. It's so brutal. I wasn't able. I played one game. I was like, wait, what are you doing? And he's like, yeah, I'm just gonna sit here. And I'm like, uh-oh. And then I was like, I can't place my Necron Lord. So I passed it, but I couldn't place him, and I lost it. So keep that in mind if you got a Blob Squad, if you got a squad of 10 man, if you've just got something that maybe in the movement phase you could flat out a vehicle and kind of come up behind where the Lord would be. Even if you can't get all your guys there to box them out, just use those combos. It could really work for you, and it's an easy way to just box out a Necron Lord so you can't get back up. So that's pretty much it. I mean, I hope that helps clear up this mysterious charioteer a little bit. I don't know what's in store for the future for the Necrons, but it would be nice to see something because I like them. I think they're a cool Xenos race, and I think a lot of people relate with them, and I can't wait to see what their new book has in store. So, like I said, that's it for this one, guys. Thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe to this YouTube channel. Hit us up on the blog, spikybitsblog.com, and listen to our podcast, forgenarrative.com.